Mr. Northern, and I see Tom is ready to go.
I'm ready to go. You said you have more time, or you're running ahead of schedule. I guess that means I get 7 minutes, 8 minutes?
That's a very good point. I am willing to go, since we do have time, and I gave him a lot of subjects. If you all want to indulge, how about 7 minutes each for town council?
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate being here. Wow, now I'm a little bit taller than you. Some of us are looking a little bit sleepy. Steve Lyda said no more late nights, but we had a 6-7 hour meeting last night, so a lot of us that are here got to bed kind of late. One of the questions is asked is, Tom, you've served on town council for the last 3 years. You're a voting member of council. Why would you want to give up your seat to be mayor? Which is a good question, because I've enjoyed being on council for the last 3 years. I've lived in Flower Mound since 1995. We've raised our family here. And as I think about that, what really got me to that point was thinking about what is the role of our mayor in Flower Mound. And 9 months ago or so, I started thinking, the role of the mayor, an effective mayor, is somebody who has the ability to motivate a group of people to act towards achieving a common goal or objective. And as I think about our council, it doesn't have that feel. And as time has gone on, I've felt that more and more, that as a group, as a body, that we aren't working together. We aren't being led to the point where we're motivating 5 people towards a common goal or objective. So I thought it was more important to give up my one vote on council because to get 5 people to collaborate, to work together, to move us to a certain direction. And so I thought that would be a better use of my time and my abilities, because that would it's pretty easy for me to get along with people and get people to work together. It's easy for me to talk to people. And so anyway, I thought that'd be a better use of my abilities. So I'm going to go through the questions that they have here. What are the issues that you perceive with our water supply sources? I got to tell you, this is one of the biggest issues facing our town, and let me explain why. Approximately a decade ago, our town subscribed to purchase more water than we actually use. So your water rates are actually more than they should be, because we have to buy a certain amount of water, and yet we're not using that much on a daily basis. And for the first, I guess, through about 2006, we were using impact fees to offset what we as residents should actually be paying. But began about 2006, it almost just took a linear turn. Our water rates are going up at 2 to 3 times the rate of inflation because we're not using the water. So how do you solve this problem? And where it goes back to is using the master plan. When we signed a contract, we projected that going forward that the town was going to fill out in a certain pace. Well, we haven't kept up with that pace. The answer to solving the escalation of our utility rates is demand. We have to increase demand. The other thing is, we need to think long term. At some point our town's going to build out at approximately 92,000 people. At least that's what our master plan calls for. At some point we need to start looking at other sources. Right now we use 2 sources, water coming from Dallas and the Upper Trinity. We also need a 3rd source. And again, this is down the road. This is a decade or 2 decades down the road, but it's never too early to start thinking about that. I'm going to go into the next question. We'll be here all night. Please respond to the perception that the town is hard to do business with. This is one of the things that really troubles me. And we can say it's a perception, but when you hear a chorus and it goes on and on and on, all of a sudden it becomes a fact and it's a reality. And so I thought about, what can I do to help change this? And I'll just give an example. The gentleman that opened Fuzzy's Tacos down here, when he has a store in another, I believe it's South Lake, he's required to have a 1,000-gallon grease pit. In Louisville, a 1,000-gallon grease pit. In Flower Mound, we required a 2,500-gallon grease pit. He said that 2,500-gallon grease pit costs $7,000 more than what it costs for one in Louisville. And he said, take that and multiply that by 20 times. All of a sudden, it's so much more expensive to open a business in Flower Mound. Why don't you just go open a business in Highland Village and we'll take our sales tax dollars next door? We've got to change that. So one of the things that I'd like to do is I'd like to get a group of residents together to compare and contrast our ordinances between South Lake, Frisco, University Park, and just see where it is that we're requiring people to do more in our town than we're requiring in other communities, and where we stick out like a sore thumb. And in those areas, because some of those things that we do, we're uncompetitive. So we need to look at the places that make us uncompetitive. The other thing goes back to it's a culture issue, and I've really thought about what can we do to change the culture in Flower Mound. And we have the lowest per capita sales tax revenue in North Texas of our 15 peers. And what that's happening is we're helping South Lake and Grapevine and other places maintain their roads, build their parks, and we've got to do stuff to change that. So I was wondering, what can we do to motivate our town to be more welcoming to business? So, and it'll be up to the council, but it's just a proposal that I'd like to have, because I think this is something that Ross Perot would do. Let's look at our executive team, and let's look at what can our executive team do to motivate the people that work underneath us to be more cooperative. I've been told if you go to a neighboring community, they say this is how you can do something. If you go to Flower Mound, they say this is why you can't do something. We got to tell people how you can. So what I'd like to propose is that we take the executive team's compensation, the future compensation, and base it upon a diversification of sales tax revenue and commercial development. As that grows, because when that grows, it lets us build parks. I mean, we have a pie that's this size, and we're trying to slice it in so many pieces to build a senior center, to open the Twin Coves Park, which isn't in our budget. 7 minutes already? Are you to open up Twin Coves Park? We got to expand the pie. So we've got to make our town be more motivated to do stuff. Okay, I got to keep rolling here. What's your position of mixed use? Mixed use at Shiloh at 1171. It's a terrible place for mixed use. At Lakeside, I think it would fit perfect. The reason why is we need to diversify our options for people. If you're a senior, you want to sell your house, you want to go to a low maintenance place to live, we need other areas to go. The challenge for the town, because what we're all after in the mixed use is we want the more retail. We want the cherry on top of the sundae. We have to be careful that we don't get the residential without getting the cherry on top of the sundae, without getting the 6 or 7 restaurants that go along the lake. So as a council, we have to make sure that the phasing goes in. But in certain areas, I think mixed use would be fine. It just needs to be controlled. You can't have extraordinary runaway residential, and so I'm getting a high sign. Just want to say thank you very much for letting me serve on town council for the last 3 years. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to continue to serve our town. Thank you very much.